Hello and welcome to Streams, brought to you by Good News Broadcasting. This is the podcast where we critique and review popular TV shows and movies on our streaming platforms and explore their themes to see how they may align or conflict with scripture so you can watch with wisdom. My name is Eamon and today I'm joined by Tom again. How's life? What's cracking?
Hello, Mr. Brown. It's me, Paddington.
It's such a bad impression.
I don't know. I felt like halfway through the sentence I was like, yeah, that was pretty good.
Because I think you just did the generic British accent. But as you could tell from the title and from that bad impression, we're looking at Paddington 3, which is also
Paddy the Baddie.
Paddington 3 in Peru. I don't think Paddington's in the UFC, but I would pay to watch that, to be fair.
I was just thinking that could be the fourth film. Because we haven't had Paddington go bad yet. But that's just the obvious next step.
But he's just inherently good.
Is he?
Oh, none of us are inherently good, sorry. We're all dirty worms.
I was just waiting for it. It was literally like a setup, an alley-oop. There we go.
Well, I'll give you some info on the film, just because we like a bit of info. It was released fairly recently, November 2024. I actually watched this in the cinema.
That's extra points. Well done.
Yep, thank you. And it has a lot of recognisable names.
Yeah.
Olivia Colman.
She's in everything.
Stuff. Yeah. I don't think I could tell you, like, something that, like, she's in that. But I know she's in a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, one of them. I get that. Yeah.
So you can think of an actor and you go, they were in that film. Like, iconic, like Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yes, I'm
he
sorry.
was in Titanic.
I'm sorry, Eamon. She wasn't in Marvel. All right.
She is, actually.
Is she actually?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
She's in a really bad TV show, though. Really bad TV show.
In the Marvel films?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, there's also Antonio Banderas, Zorro.
Yeah.
I used to love Zorro as a kid. I had it on videotape.
Did you?
Got it from the charity shop.
Classic.
I think it was Zorro 2. I don't think I've ever seen Zorro 1 because we just got Zorro 2 on videotape.
Maybe you should.
There you go.
I mean, we're always looking for streams, aren't we? Recommendations.
Yeah.
So
if you want to hear that,
let us know.
Well, it's available on Netflix, and I thought it was all right. I'm not really a big Paddington guy. I don't understand the hype, to be honest.
But you went to the cinema. That's
yeah,
commitment.
because my wife Anna, she loves like Paddington stuff like that. So that's why we went. But I just don't really understand them. So like they all get highly rated on all those review websites, like 90%, 98%. And I think they're fine. They're good kids films, but I just don't understand the hype.
It's got a perfect mix of nostalgia for parents that are, and maybe even grandparents now, that remember the original books. And then it's kind of introducing it to a new audience. And I think when you engage the parents and the kids, you often have something. And it is surprising that he's such a beloved character. But again, it's a very British thing and he's very London-centric. And that's why this film kind of stands out, because we're not in London anymore. We've obviously travelled abroad to Peru. And so the world is his oyster, really. But I think it's got to be that, hasn't it? It's got to be the Britishness. My kids like it. Not like love it, but just think, if there's a Paddington on, we'd watch it. If there was a new one out, we'd watch it.
I think it's one of those films you can't really go too wrong with it. And so maybe that's why everyone loves it, because it's a fairly non-controversial, fairly safe, everyone's included. You can't really have beef with it. Where would you rate this out of Paddington 1, 2 and 3?
I would put it in order of 2, 1, 3.
That's what I would do. This is the worst one out of all of them, but this is not a bad film.
That's a good sum up, yes. I think it was trying a little bit too hard to make drama, whereas I think you could allow Paddington to just be a character that people just love so much. It's the kind of him doing ordinary things that end up him doing them in a bad way or failing spectacularly that's fun. And I think you missed some of that in this film, trying to make the drama. And for the kind of deep cuts, anyone who's watched Alvin and the Chipmunks, Chipwrecked.
Oh my gosh.
It is basically, look, I've got 3 kids. I'm showing my age right now. It's pretty much the same storyline.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, they go to Peru and they try and find treasure. Or they go somewhere and try and find treasure.
Yeah, so they get shipwrecked on a desert island. They find a woman there who seems like she's friendly and wants to help them out, but actually she's looking for the secret treasure of the island. And then at the end, like the island's about to kind of erupt and explode, and then she decides to stay and they all get off. But there's a lot of crossover.
Interesting. On a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being don't watch this, not safe at all for anybody, and 5 being super safe, everyone can watch it, happy days, where would you put it and why?
I would put it at a 4 because there's quite a lot of nudity.
Do you know what? I remember you now doing this in the last one. I'm just thinking, what are we talking about?
There's quite a lot of the bears are naked. If you're happy with animal nudity, then it's okay.
I'm just going to move on from that one. I don't even want to bother with that.
What are you going to give it?
I would give it a 5.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's fairly non-controversial. It's rated PG. And it's rated PG because there are brief moments that may unsettle very young children.
Yeah, I understand that. In our families, there's a legendary episode of Thomas the Tank Engine. There's a bit where Thomas meets another train, and it used to really upset my eldest daughter, who's now 18, which is just great to wind her up about, that she was, I think, 2.5, 3 or something like that, and she saw this episode of Thomas the Tank Engine, and she got really upset. And the reason I'm saying that is, when I look at something that says like mild threat, you think, oh, come on. But actually, there are some kids that would be so sensitive that maybe it could upset them. Who knows? Wow. It's hard to imagine now, isn't it? Because you're a hardened horror fan. And so, all this kind of...
Definitely not.
Soft horror.
I can't believe you just outed your daughter like that.
Sorry, Rebecca. I'm not really sorry, actually. It's quite fun to wind her up about.
Well, it's a good test to see if she actually listens to this.
True. Yes. I don't think she does.
Right, okay, so what we'll do is we'll move on now. And so we're going to introduce the special guest in a second, but I just want to say before this person comes, what they're going to say may contain spoilers.
It does.
It does contain spoilers. And so you've been warned. If you want to go away and watch this, this is your opportunity to go away and watch this. Turn it off. You can come back at any time. So you've been warned if you want to go away and watch that. But Tom, how about you introduce the special guest?
Yes, so I watched this film with my daughter Phoebe, and she is 11 years old, and so after we'd watched it, I thought it'd be good to get her take on it and what she thought about it. So here is my interview with her. Well, I'm in the studio with Phoebe. Hello, Phoebe.
Hi.
And so we watched Paddington a couple of nights ago. What did you think of it?
Well, I was very sceptical at first because they changed the cast a little bit. They changed the mum. But then when we actually watched it, it was quite good. Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah. And so you've seen all 3. Which one would be your favourite?
My favourite would probably be the second one. Yeah, when he goes to prison.
So what did you like about it then?
Well, I liked that there was a lot going on. I think a lot of kids' films are like that because kids get bored very easily. But yeah, a lot was happening, a lot of plot twists. So yeah, I liked that.
So tell us what kind of happens. What's the storyline?
So Paddington goes to try and find his Aunt Lucy, but Aunt Lucy isn't there. So he tries to go and look for her in Peru, and they get stuck in the rainforest because the drivers disappear, and it's all because they just want gold and they're so looking for stuff. Then eventually the rest of the family comes to save Paddington, and they realise that the nun wasn't actually a nun. She was related to the gold-thirsty guy, and they both wanted it so bad.
Yeah, so it ended up all being about gold for them, didn't it? You had Antonio Banderas. He had a much more, at the end, he makes the right decision.
Yeah.
Because he chooses family over gold, family over fortune, and they have a nice ending. Whereas is it his cousin? Or is
I think it's his cousin,
is the Reverend Mother. She is still, she doesn't really have what you'd call a redemption arc. She doesn't at the end seem to have changed her ways, or she just doesn't get the gold, and that's kind of it. And obviously it turns out at the end that the gold is...
Oranges.
Oranges is it, yes.
It was better for Paddington. He could make the best marmalade ever. They all enjoyed it. It was nice, peaceful. He could be with his bears and his family, and he realised that he found his tribe. And so it doesn't matter if there wasn't gold or not. They were happy, so...
Yeah.
It was good. I enjoyed it. I would watch it again. I'd recommend it. And you want something a bit chill and a bit funny, then...
You found it funny, then?
Yeah, I found it a bit funny. I think Paddington is always funny. I liked the bit where there's like this poisonous plant, and he goes, "Oh, it's the red spiky things." And that's what he calls them. So when he's like leading everyone, he's like, "Be careful of the red spiky things." And then he gets pricked with one, and he's like, "Oh, the red spiky things." So I enjoyed that.
Yeah, because I wondered if there was less funny bits than in the other two films.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think Paddington in Peru is a bit more intense. It's a lot of things happening, like a lot of things going wrong. And I think they've overdone the plot twists a little bit too much. And like you said, like you were guessing them straight away. Like at the start, you were like, oh, she's a baddie. He's going to turn on her and he's going to do that. And then, it was right.
It's because I'm just so clever.
You're like, bet you it's not gold behind there. And then, what do you know? But I think they overdone it a little bit with all the plot twists.
Yeah, I think that. I think they tried to make it too dramatic.
Yeah.
Instead of relying on Paddington just being a character that people like, because he does silly things without realising it's silly. So
exactly like Mr. Bean. You don't need more. You don't need lots of plot twists in Mr. Bean because it's just Mr. Bean, and that's
you just
funny.
need him to do what he does, everyday things, but doing them funny, and that's what Paddington does.
And I think, like in Paddington 2, one of my favourite parts is when he gets the toothbrushes and he puts them in his ear, and he's like, and it's like massaging, and then he realises, and then he brushes his teeth with them, and you're like, you don't realise that those are other people's toothbrush right now.
Maybe they were worried that if they made another film that was very similar, like based in London, same stuff, that people would get bored and say, oh, there was no point making another one because you've just done the same story.
Well, they definitely changed it up.
I mean, they might leave it at 3 or they might do a 4th and a 5th, who knows, if they can find the story to do. Often on streams we look at like if there's any Christian themes or anything that made you think about faith or anything like that. Was there anything in it that you saw parallels or any kind of Christian themes in it?
Well, yeah, I think the man at first who was captain of the boat, he was like us. He just wanted everything that the world has to offer. But then he changed his ways and, he changed. And I think if we have God inside of us and we ask for help, then we'll get hope and we can change just like he did. It just shows that if he could change, even though it had passed down from his family for generations and generations, it proves that we can change too. And I think the oranges and the orange land, that kind of is a bit like heaven. They found it and they were very pleasantly surprised. And they found their people there. And, well, there's no suffering in that orange place. You don't see anyone upset. And also the Reverend Mother, she didn't change, and I think that's a bit like some people who are trapped and they're kind of decepted like by the devil. And I think those people, the captain saw ghosts of his old family. They were haunting him, kind of telling him that he needs to get the gold, he needs to get it. And I think that's a bit like how the devil tries to tempt us and is trying to tell us, oh no, God doesn't want you, just wants to turn you away and stuff. Other than that, there was a Reverend Mother, so I feel like that's it.
That anytime you see a vicar or a priest or a nun, often in TV shows, they're going to be depicted badly. It seems to be quite a popular thing. Do you know what I mean? That they're often the baddie, because maybe people aren't expecting it. But they've done it so much that everybody now does expect it.
Yeah.
If you see, as soon as I saw her, I suspected she was a baddie.
Yeah.
And I said, when it was finally revealed, I was like, I knew all along, you see a nun, she's going to be a baddie.
Yeah.
Now, she wasn't a bad nun, she just wasn't a nun. She was pretending to be a nun, which is something.
And I think that's actually something that we struggle with in our day-to-day lives. Like, I feel like some people take advantage if we're Christians. People take God's name in vain so much. You just hear it around. I think it's because Christianity has been around for so long. People just kind of make fun of it a bit more.
Easy target.
Yeah, it is. And they know, like, I know a lot of people in my class that they'll just, like, take advantage of it. And they're like, oh, she's Christian, she'll be nice, it's fine. And then they just take advantage of it a bit too much, I think.
So that was my daughter Phoebe talking about Paddington. I think one of the things that I called as soon as I saw her was Reverend Mother, played by Olivia Colman, who is a nun. And as soon as I saw her on screen, I said she's a baddie. And she is. She turns out to be a baddie. But I just thought it's just an old trope that is quite popular and I feel like Christians have been the whipping boys in films for a long time. That if you want to know who the baddie is, look for the person wearing a dog collar, look for the person going to church, look for the person who's got a Bible, look for the person who looks like your kind of quintessential Christian, a little bit like Heretic, if you listen to that, very different than Paddington. But our podcast on that, we talked about him looking very kind of, white middle class. So I just thought, Christians are often depicted in that way. And it was interesting at a similar time, I'd read this statistic from Barna, which is a very respected surveyist, and he found that, this was in 2022, half of Americans now don't trust ministers. And so it seems to be that to be a Christian, maybe back in the day, maybe in decades in the past, to be called a Christian, maybe the role of being a vicar or a pastor held some kind of place of respect, and people would generally think you're a trustworthy person, you do what you say, you're going to care about other people, you want to help people in our communities. And I just wonder if people are watching films and that's impacting their view of Christians, or whether people have already got quite a negative view nowadays of people who are Christians, and so films are just picking up on that. I don't know, but I thought it was a shame, but it's the usual thing, and it's not just this film. It's in lots of films, lots of series. We talked about this in the office, how many things we've watched. Even The Traitors, if you remember back to Lisa, who's an active vicar in the Church of England, and there's a point where she lies, and everyone's just kind of like, half of them are outraged, and half of them are like, look, everybody lies type thing. It was Christians are the baddies, and we are the whipping boys, and Paddington fell into that.
Yeah, I've got nothing else to say on that. I agree with what you're saying there. But just as we're coming to a close, is there anything else that stuck out to you?
I've got two bits I really liked. I liked the bit where Paddington obviously decides to stay with his family. And in that, he says this quote. They say, look, you found your tribe. Like, we just presume you're going to stay. That's the Browns. And he says, this is my tribe. You are my family. And I just thought, because I was watching a kids' film and often my mind kind of races off to other things, I thought how often in Christianity we love a good tribe. We love to section each other off. We love to put each other in categories. You're a Calvinist, you're a cessationist, you're a charismatic, you're a pre-trib, post-rapture, all that stuff. I don't actually think that being in a tribe is a bad thing. I think it's useful to know where you stand. And actually, if you're somebody that really believes that we should be exploring the spiritual gifts, it's going to not make sense for you to go to a church that doesn't do that. So it makes sense. Find your tribe. But deeper than that, tribe affiliation is actually the family of God that we're in. And I think it's a beautiful illustration in the New Testament that we are not just friends, we're not just associates, we're not just people who agree together, we're not meant to be like kind of work colleagues, but actually in the faith we are family. You become my brother, you become my sister. And I think that's really beautiful. And so I'm sure that wasn't what the director or the writer or Paddington had in mind, but I just thought that was really nice. This is my tribe, you are my family. And so yeah, that's the New Testament view of church community, is that we are family, brothers and sisters together.
That was really nice.
Thanks. I mean, we could talk about adoption as well. I mean, does Paddington actually get officially adopted? Or was that in the first film? But that's the whole thing as well. Obviously, adoption is a huge concept in the New Testament, that we get adopted into God's family as well. That's how we become family.
I think this is a good film. You're not going to walk away and go, that was absolutely awful. You may be offended by the naked bears, but I don't think anyone sees bears in a weird way like that.
Well, how do you make it my issue? It's like, it's totally you. Yeah.
Because I don't think anyone else in the whole world would say that other than you. But hey-ho, it's a decent film. It's a good watch. And if you do watch it and you do pick up anything that maybe we have missed, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to know what you think. And so you can get in touch via email. All you have to do is send it to info@gnba.net. That's info@gnba.net. And if you have any recommendations, again, we're more than happy to take those and watch them and let you know what we think. But also, if you're listening on a podcast platform, do give us a like, follow, review, comment, whatever it is that they require. It does help get it out there further. But that's all the time we have for now. Thanks for coming, Tom.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be in the next one. See you there.
See you later.